I guess, first of all, is there any update in terms of DeBrincat, in terms of movement on that front? That
I want to make sure I was clear on what we said yesterday, or what I said yesterday. At the end of the year, he came to us and he indicated that he likes Ottawa and everything. Free agency comes once. He didn't ask for a trade. He just said that he's not going to sign a long-term deal with us. At that point in time, I said to Jeff that we will probably look at moving him, but we're going to look at every scenario possible. And I told Jeff that, if he's not traded by a certain time, we do the club elect arbitration, which we've done. I'm talking to multiple teams. He's aware of it. It's not a big secret. I think we should be upfront with it. But at the same time, we're not going to trade him for pennies on the dollar. We feel he's a really good asset, and if he comes back to us, we know last year he might have had 27 goals, but whether he plays for us or if he plays for another team, we know he's going to get between 40 and 50 next year. So.
Is there any pressure on you to get this deal, anything done before tonight ends, before the first round?
No, not at all. Obviously, every deal that has involved them, we've tried to get certain assets. One's a first rounder that could have been tonight, but when you get close to the draft and the scouts and every scout's teams, every team's chief scout are telling their GMs, we really want this guy. I know how it's been because we've had multiple years where we had multiple firsts, lots of picks through the draft, and you're less likely to trade those picks.
Yeah. And have you given his camp permission to discuss?
No.
So they're not engaged in contract talks with anybody?
No. For us, and again, I want to be transparent here. Obviously, once we get to a deal with a team, or once we're very close to a deal with a team, then I will give them permission. I've let my board know that. That's the plan. They've agreed with it, and from then on, we would look at that option. Let the team speak with his representatives. But until then, I don't think it's productive to have him talk to other teams while he still belongs to us.
And does his situation cloud at all July? So July 1st obviously is an opportunity for you to dip into the free agent pool. If you have uncertainty or not closure, I guess, on DeBrincat at that point, does that muddy up your plan on July 1st at all?
No, not at all. I think by July 1st we'll have a good idea. I think if free agency starts, maybe teams that aren't in right now could be in if targeted players they don't acquire. I think you just got to be ready for every eventuality, and that's what we're ready to do.
Do you have to approach July 1st though as though he will be moving on regardless if he's moved on by that point?
I don't want to talk about hypotheticals because you don't know. You don't know. Someone could call me after I'm done talking here and give us the offer that we think is fair, and we go then, and it could happen July 1st, could happen July 2nd. It could happen if we decide to go to arbitration. It could happen the day before. So I think there's not really a crunch time for us. We have to be ready for every eventuality, and we are ready for that.
So I don't know if it's a hypothetical, but in order for you to maximize the value of moving him, does it look like it has to be a sign and trade scenario?
Well, obviously the team's going to give you more than if they know they have him for a year. So in our situation, yes, it would be ideal, but at the same time, as I said previously, we have to prepare for every scenario. There could be a scenario where he comes back to us on a one-year deal, and there could be a scenario where most likely if he's traded, we will give that team permission before the trade is completed, but we'll make sure that we have verbal agreement on the trade. And GMs were pretty, how could I say, I think we respect each other a lot, that I know 31 of my counterparts wouldn't back out on something.
So it sounds like you took steps to trying to get into the first round here before this. What does day one of the draft look like for GM who doesn't have a pick in that?
Oh, it's different. If I can remember, last year it happened, but last year was it was the day of the draft. We made the trade for Alex the day of the draft, so it's different. Last year the first round went by, it was a bit longer, but we knew we were adding an asset. This year, it's different, but for us, we've had multiple years where we've had 3 picks, where we've had 2 picks, so we've had multiple second rounders, so it's just a different time, just a different mind frame for us. But for us where we are, we knew there's some years we'd have a lot of picks, and we knew there'd be some years that we possibly didn't have a pick, and it's most likely that this year.
I know from conversations we had with other GMs, some teams that feel like they're in the right now. The Oilers are a good example. We're talking about, what they picked in this draft probably isn't fitting the window they're in right now. I'm interested in where you're at because you're a team on the rise. I know last year you're saying it's time to start going. I only assume that you're ramping that up. How do you have to look at your strategy for drafting this year so that it kind of fits in with what you're trying to do right now?
Well, it's difficult, but because we don't have a first, a second, or a third. So the player we're going to take in the fourth probably is not going to play for us for 3 years. So at that point in time, you're always trying to get the best player available. You're going to look as early in the draft. I always felt you draft the best player available. As you move forward in the draft, you're not going to take in one draft 7 defensemen and no forwards, or 7 forwards, or you're definitely not going to take 7 goalies. I'll bet anyone on that one. So you just got to look at your needs and where your pool prospects is, where you could find a need for a certain type of player, and that's what you try and accomplish through this draft.
Does the Matthew Tkachuk situation last year, just from a timing standpoint, give you a bit of a roadmap? You have some runway here. I think they got that solved later, a couple weeks after the draft. But there's a little runway here.
Yeah, and it was before the club
before the club
exactly. So I think that gives us some runway to see what happens. But for us, I've said from day one, we like Alex. We'd sign Alex if we could. It's his choice. Free agency comes once, and we respect that. And we will do what's best for the team.
You mentioned yesterday that DJ Smith is going to come back.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, maybe you debated it a little bit in the offseason, or maybe you didn't, but can you just walk me through your thought process in endorsing him to come back for
Yeah, obviously I went to the board, I believe before the sale was complete, made my recommendation to them. Obviously they're the ones that are making, they go based on my recommendation. I obviously, in our meeting with Mike, he's going to be the owner. I can consult with him, but he can't make any decisions. I can't talk to him about anything about Montreal. So just the process was, I felt our team played hard most of the year. I think you see most of our games. I know at home you see most of our games. There might be only a handful of games where I feel we didn't play as hard as we can. Our key players respect him. He's a great communicator. He brings a lot of energy. At the same time, he's been a winner, with his Memorial Cup. Memorial Cups. I feel he still is the right coach for this team. And to me, I mulled it over. At the end of the year, you have to look at everything. And is it personnel? Why were we where we were? Injuries were a factor. A few other things were a factor. And at the end of the day, in my assessment of it, in talking to our management group, we felt it was unanimous that DJ should come back.
We can do one last one here, guys.
Yeah. Is there any update on Travis Hamonic? Is there any opportunity for him to come back?
We have spoken with Travis over the last 2 days as agent. We've spoken with him. We're in constant communication. If he wants to come back, I think there's a deal that can be made there. And I told him that in person. I told him it wouldn't be the amount of money that he made in his previous contract, but we were open to talking to him.